This is Melbourne's 4 p.m. news with Mike Amor.
Good afternoon. First at 4, we start with developing news from Melbourne's south-east, where a monster blaze has ripped through 2 factories. Ainsley Kosh joins us live from the scene, and Ainsley, firefighters still have a lot of work ahead of them.
They sure do, Mike. It's been more than 3 hours since this blaze broke out at a factory on Kimberley Road here in Dandenong South, and still it is not yet under control. About 40 firefighters raced to the scene. They got here within about 6 minutes to this 30 by 60 metre factory full of lighter products, so it's highly flammable. They've been trying to tackle the blaze from all angles, and they've been trying to stop it spreading to an adjoining property that's full of hydraulics. You can probably see the sheer scale of this blaze from our chopper pictures right now on the screen. Miraculously, no one was injured. There was no one inside the factory at the time, so no one was injured, but paramedics have been on the scene here, and so have police, just blocking off multiple roads in the area for the safety of the public. We know that about 200 people had to be relocated. We caught up with FRV a short time ago, who spoke about the extremely difficult weather conditions that they have faced this afternoon.
The weather and the wind caused a few issues for us in relation to the fire at Kimberley Drive, pushing the fire in a northerly direction, affecting the factory directly behind us. But our crews have done an amazing job at containing the fire to the factory of origin in Kimberley Drive and protecting the exposures surrounding that factory to really contain it to the first factory of which the fire was reported in.
At this stage, the cause of the blaze is unclear, but no doubt for the owners, this is devastating for them, just so close to Christmas. Mike?
Yes, no doubt. Ainsley Kosh at the scene of that developing story in Dandenong South. Thank you. A 14-year-old boy has been struck and killed while riding an electric dirt bike at Diamond Creek. Riley Zeeble was almost home when he collided with a four-wheel drive, his distraught family rushing to the scene when they heard sirens. Jordan Quinn has the details.
Good afternoon. Flowers have been laid for a 14-year-old boy who was killed riding his e-motorbike last night here in Diamond Creek. It was around 10 o'clock when he collided with a four-wheel drive. Police say Riley was travelling over the bridge when he collided with a Land Cruiser pulling out at a stop sign. The 14-year-old only lives a few hundred metres away. His family rushed to the scene after hearing sirens, but he couldn't be saved. The Year 9 student's death has left his girlfriend distraught. He'd only just left her house after spending all of yesterday with her.
He came at 12:30 and left 9:30 right before the accident. He was like one of the best people I've ever met. He really didn't deserve it.
I will never forget him. Ever. Right? Defining moment in life.
Riley's many friends are still processing their grief, arriving at the crash site today to pay tribute to their mate. The tragedy has also rocked the tight-knit Diamond Creek community, but locals have become concerned about the increasing popularity of electric motorbikes among youths. They are now calling for tougher regulation.
Kids just need to take this on board, have a look and go, it can happen, it's real.
Yeah, the e-bikes do seem to be a bit of a scourge, and I think hopefully maybe it's a wake-up call to parents. Don't just go out and buy kids' e-bikes.
The 22-year-old driver of the four-wheel drive from Eltham North was interviewed by detectives. He has been released as the investigation continues.
A truck crash has sparked a deadly chain reaction on Sydney Road at Somerton. Blake Johnson is live with the details. And Blake, this all unfolded during this morning's peak.
Just a tragic sequence of events, Mike. It began as a relatively minor bingle, a truck colliding with a car. Within seconds, the truck rolled into a light pole and that came crashing down onto a silver Honda driving the opposite direction. The car's roof crushed. The woman inside suffered life-threatening injuries. Paramedics tried to revive her, but she couldn't be saved. And the male truck driver in his 30s was taken to the Royal Melbourne Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The occupants of the red sedan involved in the initial accident were not injured. And there are more delays in the area as we go to air this afternoon. A new crash on nearby Cooper Street. Mike?
Blake, thank you. Borrowers will have to wait until February at the earliest before there's any chance of an interest rate cut. Even that's a long shot. At its last meeting for the year, the Reserve Bank Board announced a hold today at 3.6%, blaming persistently high inflation. The RBA Governor Michelle Bullock and Treasurer Jim Chalmers have just spoken in the past hour, and we'll hear from them soon. The driver accused of crashing into a medical centre in Niddrie, killing a pedestrian, has been released without charge.
What happened in Niddrie today? Can you tell me what happened in Niddrie today?
A female patient in the middle of a consultation was also injured and airlifted to hospital. A fatal software flaw in older Samsung phones that can block users from contacting 000 may have resulted in a second death. The boss of TPG Telecom made the revelation in federal parliament today. A Senate committee investigating the network was told a person from the Blue Mountains could have passed away after failing to connect to a 4G call in September.
The customer was able to reach emergency services through an alternative method 5 minutes later.
The company is waiting for further detail from New South Wales Ambulance before it makes a direct link. A customer died last month after a service failure using the ageing headset. A political fight is threatening to overshadow a historic apology to Aboriginal people in Parliament. The state opposition is refusing to support it in its current form, sparking a war of words. State political reporter Rochelle Brown has the details.
A solemn apology has been delivered in Parliament, marking the start of a renewed relationship between Aboriginal people and the state. A special additional sitting day added to the calendar to acknowledge the harms inflicted by the Victorian government's actions.
This Parliament becomes a place of reckoning, and that reckoning has meaning for all of us who call Victoria home. To ensure that the wrongs of the past are never repeated, we say sorry.
It's one of the first acts the Allen government has made since signing a nation-first treaty that became law in October. The opposition leader attended but took issue with the apology's wording and references to the treaty, a treaty the Liberal Party has pledged to repeal if they win next year's election.
The Liberal Party have turned their back on this moment, which demonstrates that the Liberal leader is controlled by the extreme right wing of her party.
Well, I think it's really disappointing from the Premier that she's decided to divide Victorians today rather than working with us on a bipartisan motion.
It's not the first apology to be delivered. Many have focused on the removal of Aboriginal children from their families.
Returning now to interest rates, at hold at 3.6%. The RBA Governor Michelle Bullock has just spoken. Let's have a listen.
We didn't consider the case for a rate cut at all. We didn't explicitly consider the case for a rate rise at this meeting, but we did consider and discuss quite a lot the circumstances and what might need to happen if we would decide that interest rates had to rise again at some point next year. If inflation continues to be persistent and looks like it is not coming back down towards the board's target, then I think that does raise questions about how tight financial conditions are, and the board might have to consider whether or not it's appropriate to keep interest rates where they are or in fact at some point raise them. But I wouldn't put a timing on that. Headline inflation is very much swung around by the on and off of the electricity rebates. And we're not expecting headline inflation to come back down below 3 for another 12 months effectively.
A lot of Australians would have wanted some more rate relief but wouldn't have expected it. The inflation number, which has come out most recently, which is much lower than this government inherited but higher than we would like, is a mix of some temporary factors and potentially some ongoing factors. We want to see this inflation moderate more. But it is only a bit over half what we inherited when we came to office. So Australians have made a lot of progress together on inflation.
And a little later, we'll speak to a financial expert for his analysis, including when he thinks or if we'll see a cut soon. Melbourne City Council is promising to ring in the new year with a larger-than-life fireworks display. 15 tonnes of pyrotechnics will be set off from city rooftops as well as pontoons on the water. And there will also be a laser show. Tyra Stowers will have your full New Year's Eve guide and reveal the cost of it all a little later in the hour. Jane Bunn joins us now. Jane, it's turned into a lovely afternoon.
Oh, much nicer than what we saw out there this morning, Mike. The sunshine is lovely if you're out of the wind. A moderate to breezy southwest then southerly wind does keep a lid on our temperatures. It has peaked at 20.8 in the city so far. It's slightly warmer away from the bay in that wind direction. Overnight, it was generally 15 or 16. It's quite mild for this time of year as light showers passed through. We were left with the cloud this morning that slowly cleared out. Those showers were thanks to a trough and cold front, and now we have this ridge of high pressure moving in. It'll be a long ridge of high pressure over us for the next few days, encouraging light winds and sunshine. But there's always a but. There is a trough tomorrow and another later in the week, and they both put a bit of a spanner in the works. I'll show you what to expect a little later.
We don't want spanners in any works.
We've got spanners.
OK, thank you, Jane. Still to come, a life in jail for the life he took. A killer learns his fate. The details are next. Also, bumbling crooks target an ATM in Melbourne South East. Next, why their crime didn't pay off. The airborne driver who somehow survived this. And a who's who of Australian politics paid tribute to a Labor legend. We're back in just a few minutes with those stories and plenty more. A man's been arrested over a series of alleged online threats sent to Crow superstar Isaac Rankin. He received 5 threatening messages on social media on the 8th of September. Now, after a 3-month investigation, police have arrested a 31-year-old man from Adelaide. He's been charged with using a carriage service in an offensive manner and will face court next month. We'll have more on this story coming up in 7 News at 6. A man convicted of murdering a woman on a remote beach in far north Queensland will spend his life behind bars. Anna McGraw has the story.
Good afternoon. Well, Toya Cordingley's family has waited more than 7 years for her killer to be caught and convicted. And now 41-year-old Rajwinder Singh will spend the rest of his life behind bars for the 2018 murder. The mandatory sentence for murder is life with a non-parole period of 20 years. Justice Lincoln Crowley opted to increase that sentence, meaning Singh must serve at least 25 years before he can apply for release. Cameras were granted rare access inside the courtroom for the monumental sentencing.
It's hard to imagine what motivated you to set upon that vulnerable young woman.
This case has captivated the tightly knit community of far north Queensland for close to a decade. Toya was walking with her dog Indy on Wangetti Beach in 2018 when she was murdered. Nobody witnessed the crime or saw her killer escape, but DNA linked Singh to the scene. The following day, he fled to India and went into hiding for 4 years, sparking an international manhunt. He was extradited back to Queensland in 2022 following a tip-off and the offer of $1 million bounty. Singh's decision to run today, catching up with him, is one of the main reasons for his increased sentence.
You have shown no remorse for your offending.
Toya's mother and father both addressed the killer in court. Singh sat with his head in his hands as they called him a thief and say they will never forgive him for what he did.
Are you happy with the outcome?
Justice is done, that's all I have to say.
Singh's case could end up here in the Court of Appeal. He and his legal team have 1 month to decide if they're going to appeal the guilty verdict. And as for the $1 million bounty, well, we can now reveal it's been paid to several people.
Thieves have failed in an attempt to steal an ATM from a Frankston shopfront. Police say the offenders reversed a flatbed truck into the Heather Hill Road business around 3 a.m. But they were unable to detach the machine and fled empty-handed. The country's most powerful political figures have farewelled Labor kingmaker Graham Richardson at a state funeral. The Prime Minister leading the tributes. Chief reporter Chris Reason was there.
Good afternoon. It was an extraordinary collection of mourners from across Australia's political spectrum today to farewell the Labor legend Graham Richardson, the Prime Minister describing him as a Sydney landmark almost the size of the Harbour Bridge. Mr Albanese led the eulogies today, another delivered by former Prime Minister Tony Abbott, who sat with Bob Hawke's widow, Blanche Dalpouche. They were surrounded by dozens of serving and former ministers and politicians from all sides and both levels, federal and state. While from outside of politics, we saw billionaire Kerry Packer's widow, Ros, league legend John Quayle, soccer star Mark Bosnich and Olympic Supremo John Coates. Some controversial attendees too, former radio titan Alan Jones and brain surgeon Charlie Teo in surprise appearances. But front and centre of the service this morning, Mr Richardson's widow Amanda and 18-year-old son Darcy. They listened to a marathon, 11 eulogies in total, before giving their own. Let's listen.
I extend my deepest sympathies on behalf of the nation to all who loved him.
I used to say to Graham, oh my God, you're a crappy husband. And he goes, and yet, Amanda, you're still here, aren't you? So he was so bad.
There had been some controversy over the decision to grant Mr Richardson a state funeral, and the venue too moved from St Mary's Catholic Cathedral to St James's Anglican Church due to a dispute on the choir. Richardson was the nation's youngest ever senator in his time, served in the Hawke and Keating governments, but also constantly battled scandals around tax evasion, criminal connections, prostitutes and payments. Those controversies not ignored but only politely referenced today. The former Prime Minister Tony Abbott calling him a rough diamond, but in the end a gem. Back to you.
Now to a terrifying near miss in Romania where a car launched over two others after speeding through a roundabout. It's reported the driver of the speeding vehicle suffered a diabetic episode, fainting behind the wheel. The man in his 50s was pulled from the wreckage with multiple fractures but no life-threatening injuries. The afternoon sport is coming up after the break. We'll have details on the fresh Ashes blow to the Aussie bowling stocks for the remainder of the series. Also, the emotional change at the Hawks for a young star forward and the world record breaker that's as good as gold. Stay tuned for that story after today's wrap of sport. Beck Maddern is here with the afternoon sport, and Beck, a cruel blow for Josh Hazlewood.
Yes, Mike, good afternoon to you. The Aussie paceman's desperate bid to play some part in the Ashes is over. Already battling a hamstring strain, Hazlewood's Achilles flared up last week. The 34-year-old will now focus on returning to full fitness in time for the T20 World Cup in February.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and it's just that timing again, isn't it? This time of year you want to be playing cricket in Australia, and unfortunately not this year.
England's mid-series getaway to Noosa remains the big talking point.
If you were in charge of England right now, would you be going to Noosa?
Oh, probably not.
Seven Cricket's newest recruit, Sam Constance, is hoping that a mountain of Big Bash runs with Sydney Thunder can put him in contention for an Aussie recall. A Bombers champion has joined a rival club to launch his coaching career. Xander Maguire has the details this afternoon. Xander, Dyson Heppell has landed at the Pies.
Well, it wasn't long ago, Beck, that Dyson Heppell was shaking Scott Pendlebury's hand before both sides ran out for Anzac Day. Now he's coaching him, the former Bombers skipper, taking on a development role at the Pies. Elsewhere, well, it's been an emotional day at the Hawks with young gun Kel Shadir taking the number 13 for 2026, the same jumper made famous by his late father Paul, who succumbed to pancreatic cancer in 2022. Kelsha was overcome with emotion when receiving the number and spoke to 7 News exclusively today.
And it's just sort of another way to connect to Dad, which is something really nice. I mean, it's all these little things that I pick up along the way and I learn as I get older, which just make me feel closer to him, which can be difficult. I don't think anyone would have thought that I would have been pulling on that number. It means a lot. Yeah, it's hard to describe.
At Arden Street, North Melbourne has confirmed that Nick Larkey will be the new captain. Comes after former skipper Jai Simpkin attempted to leave the club during the trade period and subsequently removed himself from the leadership group. Harry Sheezel will be the vice-captain, with Cam Zurhaar and Luke Davies-Uniacke rounding out the leadership team.
I just want to be a captain that instills as much belief and faith in the players at the club, so that we can all play a brand of footy that the club can be proud of, and our fans can be proud of.
We'll have more on the fallout of that North Melbourne leadership switch at 6 p.m, Beck.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Xander. Alex de Minaur is now a 4-time winner of the Newcombe Medal. The stars of Australian tennis were celebrated at Crown last night. It's Still in London after winning the Ultimate Tennis Showdown for the third time, de Minaur accepting the medal via video message.
I'm extremely proud to be an Australian and to continue to try and improve and get the most out of myself, and yeah, I'll do both Australia and John Newcombe very proud.
Cruz Hewitt and Emerson Jones were named Junior Athletes of the Year. Newly crowned Formula One world champion Lando Norris will defend his title with the number 1 on his McLaren next season. It means Red Bull's Max Verstappen has to find a new number, having used one since 2022.
It's tradition. It's there for a reason. It's there because you can go and try grab it, and you can work hard to try and get it.
Norris had the option of keeping his regular number 4. See Cruz Hewitt there?
Yeah.
Very tall.
Chip off the old block,
Yeah,
though,
very
isn't it?
tall, though. He'll be happy with that, with a few more centimetres than Leighton.
I hope Lando Norris enjoys number 1 because Oscar's coming at him next year, for sure.
I thought
Rip
you
him
were
off.
going to talk to me about Noosa.
What?
Well, we'd like to be in Noosa with the English cricket team.
Yeah, true.
That's a place for a holiday.
Lose badly, go to Noosa. Good plan. Thanks, Beck. Forget golden hour. This is a golden retriever hour. More than 2,000 furry friends gathering at a park in Argentina to try to break the record for the largest number of the breed in a single place. The event, dubbed the Golden Wave, looked to beat Vancouver's previous record of 1,685 Goldens. 10 record officials were in attendance, but are yet to verify the record. You're watching 7's Afternoon News. Still to come, why the driver behind a fatal medical centre crash in Melbourne's northwest has been released without charge. Also ahead, notorious Nazi Thomas Sowell unleashes in a bizarre court outburst. Japan rocked by a powerful earthquake. See the pictures. And we take a look at how our city's set to ring in the new year. If you have a story to share with all of Melbourne, drop us an email, melbourne@7.com.au. You're watching 7 News Melbourne. Mike Amor with you. These are the stories we're following this hour. There's been a double tragedy on our roads. A teen motorbike rider killed in Diamond Creek, while a pole has struck an innocent driver in a freak chain reaction on Sydney Road. A Dandenong factory has erupted into flames, fuelled by the smoking products it houses inside. Mortgage holders denied a Christmas cart with inflation a sticking point. A flaw in Samsung phones has been linked to a second 000 death, and a historic apology to Aboriginal Victorians has been overshadowed by a political war of words. Returning to one of our top stories now, and a doctor inside a Nidri medical centre has described the moment a car came crashing through his clinic, killing a pedestrian on the way. The driver has been released pending further inquiries. Laura Turner has today's developments.
Well, it's been a day and a half since this tragedy here in Nidri on Keilor Road, but police still haven't been able to identify the victim who was hit behind me outside this medical centre. They've said that he's somewhere in his 40s, but don't know any more information than that at this stage. Meantime, the driver, the man in his 60s who was behind the wheel of that Alfa Romeo, 7 News actually caught up with him as he was leaving the police station after his interview. He hasn't been charged yet, though. All we know is that he is a diabetic.
Can you tell me what happened in Nidri today?
Now, there still, of course, is a lot of work to be done with this investigation from police. The GP who was inside the clinic when this car barreled through says it only missed him by about 2 centimetres.
Suddenly, very big noise, very big noise, and the patient was flying, and she was like flying to the ceilings, and I didn't really know what happened. The only thing I remember was everything was collapsing, and like the roof, the walls, everything is collapsing. Everyone, like debris everywhere, and I hear my patient screaming. My only priority was to go and see her, see what happened to her. Looking back and just looking at what happened, I'm really lucky to be alive, to be honest.
Meantime, the female patient that GP was treating at the time was airlifted. She is now in a stable condition, still in the Royal Melbourne Hospital.
Neo-Nazi leader Thomas Sewell has ranted outside court against the magistrate who sent him to jail. The white supremacist appeared on a string of charges related to a violent attack on Camp Sovereignty in August. Christy Mayer reports.
Neo-Nazi leader Thomas Sewell made a quiet entrance into court, but on leaving, he unleashed.
It's an absolute disgrace that in this country, actual terrorists can perform bombings in Melbourne and get away with it with no jail time. And this very same magistrate had me remanded for 72 days for fighting against these very terrorists.
The white supremacist fronted the magistrate's court today on a string of charges, alongside 5 co-accused over this alleged attack on Camp Sovereignty in August.
You're facing multiple charges, Mr. Sewell. Will you be pleading not guilty?
No comment.
Today, Sewell said he had no regrets over the violent incident.
I am 100% proud of fighting for Australia.
And criticised the media.
And the media is complicit with lying to the Australian people. It is very clear from the footage.
The neo-Nazi leader claiming he's fighting more than just the charges he's facing, which include violent disorder, assault by kicking and discharging a missile.
And the truth is that we are fighting for Australia and these people attacked us.
Sewell and his co-accused have had their bail extended. They'll front court again in February next year.
An expensive childhood vaccine has become an election issue after the death of Victorian teenager Levi Sire. A meningococcal B jab might have saved his life, and today the state opposition pledged a change that could save others.
We will fully fund the meningococcal B vaccine for infants and for young adults.
If the government had listened to the countless families that lost their children or ended up with a child with a disability, my son would still be here.
The Allen government says it's up to the vaccine's makers to apply for listing on the PBS. Japan has been rocked by a powerful earthquake, forcing residents in the country's north to seek the safety of higher ground. It struck offshore, triggering a tsunami warning for coastal areas. Jeff Parry has the latest.
Good afternoon. Japan is one of the most earthquake-prone countries on the planet, sitting on a geological formation known as the Ring of Fire. Last night, the north of Japan was hit by a shake registering 7.6. Most offices and shops thankfully empty. The clock on the wall showing 11:15 p.m. All the action caught on CCTV. The quake epicentre was 50 kilometres under the ocean floor, 80 kilometres off the northeastern tip of the main island Honshu. The tremor was felt as far away as Tokyo and was followed by an aftershock of 5.5. With public address systems warning of a tsunami threat, thousands of residents were given notice they may have to evacuate. 3-metre waves were forecast to hit the coast. The quake sparked fires and caused structural damage that cut power to some districts. One person was seriously injured, but most were minor from broken glass. The threat of tsunamis caused fear in Japan. They well remember the 2011 quake in which more than 19,000 people died and the Fukushima nuclear power plant was smashed. The tsunami threat has now been lifted, but local communities along the coast have been warned the possibility of another quake.
Australia's world-leading social media ban is just hours away, with children under 16 to be barred from key platforms from tomorrow. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has delivered a video message to the nation's youth, insisting the new rules are a change for good. Here's Paul Caddick.
Good afternoon. On the eve of the under-16 social media account ban, 2 of the platforms impacted by it have confirmed they will reluctantly comply with the new rules. But there may still be a legal challenge to come. The regional boss of Snapchat, one of the 10 platforms covered by the ban, posting that the company maintains it is a messaging app.
As a parent of teens, I know how important connection is for young people. So we're really sad that there will be many young Australians who can no longer connect on Snap. While we disagree with the government's assessment about Snapchat, we will comply.
And this morning, Reddit has posted it will also be doing age prediction checks on Australian accounts, suspending those found to be under 16s, with new accounts required to provide a birth date. In addition, it's bringing in a new global under 18 account with stricter chat settings, no sensitive or personalised ads or mature content.
It comes as Reddit is also reportedly considering a legal challenge to the ban, which it still disagrees with, but saying today the only decision it's made is to comply with the law.
Hi there, students. It's the Prime Minister here.
While Anthony Albanese has sent out a message to children about to lose access.
You'll know better than anyone what it's like growing up with algorithms, endless speeds, and the pressure that can come with that. That's why we've taken this step to support you.
Urging under-16s to reach out to parents, teachers and friends with any questions and...
above all, make the most of the school holidays coming up, rather than spending it scrolling on your phone.
Coming up at 6 o'clock tonight, we speak to under-16s who are about to lose access to their accounts and whether they think the ban can work.
The City of Melbourne is sparing no expense to ring in the new year with a firework and laser show to the tune of $4.8 million. Tyra Stowers caught up with the Lord Mayor, Nicholas Rees, for the Inside Scoop.
Well, I'm here with the Lord Mayor, Nick Rees. Nick, this is such an exciting time for the city. New Year's Eve, what do we have planned?
Look, we're planning the biggest and best New Year's Eve ever for Melbourne. We've got the lasers and the fireworks display back across 27 buildings across the city. The biggest laser show in the Southern Hemisphere. And we've got new lasers that are multi-directional, so you'll be able to enjoy them from more places around the city.
And how many people are we expecting across the city this New Year's Eve?
It's the biggest night of the year for Melbourne. Over 500,000 people expected to come in. So our message is plan ahead and play it safe. You know, use public transport, get a cab or cycle and walk if you can. But please come along, be part of it. It's the best night of the year in Melbourne.
And there's also some special spots for families this year, isn't there?
We have our 4 free family-friendly zones around the city. Look at the City of Melbourne website to see where they are. They start at 6 p.m. and special shows and performances on there designed for the kids. And then as the evening gets a little later, it gets dialed up so everyone can enjoy the night of their lives.
And for the fireworks, if you've got a family and you might not make it to the midnight show, what other timings do we have?
So earlier in the evening at 9 p.m. there is a family-friendly fireworks display on. And again, to get to one of our free family-friendly zones, so they're at Docklands, Flagstaff, Treasury Gardens or Domain, and they're fabulous, they're very kid-friendly and a place where everyone can enjoy a great night.
And just lastly, will there be public road closures this year around the city as well?
There will be, so again, plan ahead. We've got a lot of people coming into the city, so expect widespread road closures in the central city. But, you know, be patient, come along ready to party, and isn't it just such a great night of the year? Melburnians coming together to celebrate and welcome in the new year.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Nick. And I cannot wait to see Melbourne sparkle for a great night of the year. We'll have all the details you need to know in the news at 6.
Lord Mayor looking very festive in that red jacket. Speaking of Christmas, there's going to be no Christmas cheer from the Reserve Bank. So when can we expect a cut? We picked the brain of an expert next. Plus, decoys deployed as a nurse faces court over a Jewish hate video. And why Prince Harry and his kids are now a step closer to a royal family reunion. We're back in just a few minutes. Please don't go anywhere. The Reserve Bank Governor has hinted at future interest rate hikes rather than cuts after announcing a hold at 3.6% today. David Bassanese is the chief economist at Beta Shares and joins me live from Brisbane. David, Michelle Bullock was categoric about a cut but seems to be entertaining a rise. Talk about a Christmas Grinch. How concerned should borrowers be?
Yeah, look, I think somewhat concerned. I mean, I think the Governor has indicated that the next meeting in February is a live meeting in the sense that they will be considering a lift in interest rates. What will be absolutely critical will be the inflation number for the December quarter that we get in late January. And she's basically said if they come in as hot as they came in the September quarter, then a rate rise does seem to be on the card. So those inflation numbers are going to be absolutely critical.
Yeah, they're above the band that they aim for, 2 to 3%. Inflation is running persistently high. So why is that? Why are we losing the battle against inflation? Because we seem to have it under control for a while.
Yeah, it was coming down. I mean, it's come down nicely from the highs we had during COVID. I mean, the economy itself has started to recover since last year. We've had consumer spending picking up. We've had the housing sector recovering. We've got business investment recovering. And so the economy is actually operating at a pretty high level of capacity. And the relatively tight markets are leading to upward pressure on prices in the housing construction area, in the services area as well, things like restaurants and takeaways. So that's what has the governor worried at the moment.
David, the Treasurer hands down his mid-year outlook next week. What can we expect from that?
Well, I don't think we're going to get any new spending cuts announced. This will be really just an update on how the budget is travelling, but I think that he will basically underpin the desire of the government to rein in spending. I think the critical decision for the government will be the next budget in May, particularly if the RBA has raised rates in February. I think the government will be under a lot of pressure to rein in spending. Public demand has been running very strong. Public sector wages have been running very strong as well, so that's been adding to the inflationary pressures in the economy.
David Bassanis, Chief Economist at Beta Shares, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
No worries.
A former nurse who spoke about murdering Jewish patients in her care during a rant on social media has pleaded not guilty. Sarah Abu Lebda is accused of threatening violence and using a carriage service to menace or harass after a video of her and a colleague surfaced. Outside court, decoys were used to try to confuse the media as they tried to question her. The 27-year-old's case is heading to trial. Co-accused Rashad Nadir is yet to enter a plea. Prince Harry has scored a rare victory in his long-running fight for boosted security. Britain's Home Office has agreed to review a decision that stripped him of 24-hour armed police protection in the UK. It could pave the way for a reunion between his two young children and the King. Charles last saw them in 2022 before Harry claimed it was too unsafe to visit. Let's now bring in Peter Mitchell for a look ahead to our 6 o'clock bulletin. Afternoon, Mitch. What's in the works?
Good afternoon to you, Mike. Well, as you've been discussing, we just heard mortgage holders have been left bitterly disappointed today, but it's not all bad news. There are ways you can trim down your repayments. Some banks are offering big deals to tempt you away from the big four. And our consumer editor, Georgia Holland, will have your one-stop guide to save. And we meet Jinx, the fearless feline with one less life to his name, but an incredible tale to tell. He's just been reunited with his family 2,000 kilometres away from where he was last seen 4 years ago. Jackie Quist has that remarkable story. It's all coming up in just over an hour, Mike.
Look forward to it. See you then. Thanks, Mitch.
Thank you.
Still to come on this bulletin, the Golden Globe nominations are in. Next, we reveal the big snub and the Aussies in the running. And Jane will return for a look at our week in weather. Two frontrunners have emerged at the 83rd Golden Globes. The White Lotus leads the pack for TV nominations. One battle after another received 9 nods for motion picture, including Best Film in the Musical or Comedy genre. A major snub in that category was Wicked for Good, despite its box office success. In terms of the Aussie stars, Jacob Elordi has become a first-time nominee for his performances in Frankenstein and the hit miniseries The Narrow Road to the Deep North. Sarah Snook is in the running for her role in the limited series All Her Fault. Joel Edgerton is up for Best Male Actor in a Drama for his role in Train Dreams. Rose Byrne is nominated for Best Female Actor in a musical or comedy film for her role in If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. The Golden Globes are next month. The superstar of weather, Jane Bunn, returns now. And Jane, will that sunshine continue?
Well, it's actually going to take a bit of a break tomorrow, Mike, but it does return again on Thursday. We began the day covered in cloud with local showers, most of them falling before dawn. The cloud didn't last long, clearing out to bright sunshine, barely a cloud in the sky. If you're out of the wind, it is pleasant. We've reached 20.8 in the city so far. Clouds spread across the south with light showers underneath, clearing eastwards as the day goes goes on, but that cloud has persisted east of Lakes Entrance. The north has just a bit of very wispy high cloud ahead of our next weather system. It is mainly sunny and warm. We have quite a difference in temperature from the south to the north today. The trough and cold front that brought the cool change to the south is moving away. High pressure is on its way in, and that will be our main feature for the rest of the week. But there is a trough that is over to our west and another one up here just to our north that will have a say in what our weather does. Firstly, to that trough in the west, that'll thicken our cloud tomorrow. In terms of wet weather, it looks impressive, but it falls into dry air, so it won't bring much. It falls mainly along the ranges. On Thursday, we look to the northeast. That trough brings in instability and increases the humidity. On Thursday, it's just local thunderstorms up on the far eastern ranges, so the majority are dry. On Friday, that activity increases and it spreads out as the trough sinks further into Victoria. About the eastern ranges, but also Gippsland and in the northeast, but nothing west of that trough. Friday is also when temperatures jump up. Melbourne hits 30 degrees to end the week. Around the nation tomorrow, 30 in Brisbane, lots of sunshine. Sydney City, brief showers early and late, but there is a risk of severe storms in the west. Warm and generally dry in Adelaide, warm and sunny in Perth. To Victoria, local early fog about the eastern valleys. We've got these clouds spreading through, but there isn't a lot of wet weather to come with it. Light and patchy rain moving along the ranges. So most of us, both to the north and south, remain dry. In Melbourne, mostly cloudy tomorrow, but all dry. It is a cool one. I'm expecting a top of just 19, and the sunshine is back on Thursday. I'll have more at 6, Mike.
OK, Jane, see you then. And that's all from Melbourne's afternoon news. Thanks for joining us. For now, from the 7 News team, enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
The 7 News app will give you the news you want. Download now.